You've been scammed. Not for your money, but for something worse. Your time, your energy, your freedom, your childhood. Think about it. You sit in a desk 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 12 or more years. You're told what to think, what to say, what to do, how to do it, when to move, and when to rest. You get home too tired to build your dreams, too drained to chase what actually matters to you. That doesn't sound like education to me. Does it sound like education to you? Sounds like conditioning. Sounds like stealing years of your freedom, of your childhood. The years where you're the most creative and alive and full of potential. And it just trades them for compliance, obedience. And I didn't hate school. It wasn't terrible. It isn't terrible. I'm still in school. But it's not built for someone like me, for someone like you. It's not built for people like us. I'm just getting by. I just exist there now. The only reason I still go to school and haven't tried to get out or anything is because I have friends there. There's good people there. Some good people there. I have a few good teachers that actually give real life advice, even though they're teaching at stupid school. But that's pretty rare to have good teachers like that, isn't it? And I definitely could have learned faster by dropping out of school. I could have gone deeper into what I actually care about. No doubt. I wanted to be a director of movies or an actor when I was younger, and now I'm kind of doing that. But I never really started doing that until recently. But the system hasn't allowed that. It boxed me in. Said, go to school, go home, and have fun. So that's what I did. I went to school, I went home, and played video games and watched YouTube all day. Watched movies as well. Just like my younger siblings are doing right now. The school system is not built to help you evolve. It is built to standardize you into a normal average person. It was made to control you. It was built to control you. In the 18th century, this country that doesn't exist anymore, called Prussia, developed a national school system that was for their whole country after they were losing a bunch of wars. And their goal was very simple. It was to create obedient citizens, train compliant soldiers, and eliminate all independent thought. So just create people obedient to the government. And then this guy, Horace Mann, decided to bring that exact model, almost that exact model, into the US in the 1800s. And he praised how orderly it was, how efficient it was. And we adopted it almost exactly. And we still see at least the basic structure of what was adopted back then, 200 years ago. Bells, desks in rows, rote memorization, standardized testing, and there's no questions asked about it. They don't teach you how we had the school system that we have now. It doesn't make sense. Why do they teach you stuff in school if you don't even know how this way of teaching and how the school system came about? And rote memorization, if you don't know what that is, it is just like, for example, reading something over and over and over and over again until you memorize it. So the school system hasn't evolved, right? The internet evolved. Technology has evolved a ton. Everything has evolved except school. Why is that? They still teach the same core subjects in a very similar format, and they use outdated tools that were made to prepare kids for factory jobs, not the jobs that we have today and that kids want today. We're living in a huge world of opportunity, right? But we're still kind of being trained like it's 1850. But education hasn't advanced by now. And it makes you think, why? Why hasn't it advanced by now? Maybe because our government wants control, wants obedience from you. You never know. And guess what? This school system is worse for boys than it is for girls too. I bet you've noticed. Boys naturally want to push limits, right? At least when they're young, if it's not already taken away from you now. We want to move and break things and explore and lead, but school punishes that. You're called a problem if you can't sit still. They call you defiant and a bad child if you ask too many questions. Like, stop asking questions, blah, blah, blah. Even though they tell you, ask questions, but then if you ask too many questions, they're like, what the heck, man? Someone else needs to ask a question. And they medicate you if you don't behave. If you're bouncing off the walls, they give you medicine and say, sit in your seat, behave. Is that what a boy really wants to do? No. We want to take risks, at least when we're younger, and until they take that away from us and turn us into like obedient girls. And girls do adapt better, and it's not because they're smarter. They're probably around the same, but the system rewards obedience more than curiosity. So they're just like, oh yeah, I get a reward for being obedient, so I just do it. Maybe girls like being obedient more than boys do as well. But what are you really becoming better at in this school system? Following a system that just kills what you want to do. It kills your spark. It kills your want for adventure and imagination and stuff, and tells you to sit in a desk and listen and memorize and take the test. And the numbers don't lie either. If you don't believe me about any of this, I'm giving you proof right now. Young children ask over 100 questions an hour, so like 5 and under. Maybe like 7 and under. But by the time they hit middle school, they're down to 2 to 5 questions every 2 hours. That's like going from the top of a mountain down to the foot of the mountain. Boom. In just like 5 years. And they're not asking less questions because they're getting smarter. It's because they're giving up. They're giving up on asking questions because they know that it's not good for them. They should already know the answer. They should know the answer the first time. They should listen to the teacher so they don't have to ask questions. Questions are bad. No one directly says questions are bad, but it's inferred. You get bored, disengaged, and beaten down. And there's even a name for this. The school engagement cliff. Literally top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. Boom. They say engagement drops 34% between 5th grade and 9th grade. That's boom. That's a cliff. And that doesn't sound like education to me. That sounds like something else. And even adults know it's broken too. A Pew Research poll from 2024 said that 51% of adults think school is headed in a wrong direction, 16% think it's headed the right way, and the rest don't even know what's going on. So that means that over half of the country sees that the school system is broken, or they're even too confused to try and understand it. So we're not crazy for questioning school. We are awake. We're not woke, we're awake. 2 different things. And another cherry on top, testing is a lie too. They don't measure your understanding, most of them, paper tests. Core subjects, paper tests. They don't measure your understanding, they measure your memorization, your temporary memorization. And here's some evidence for that. Neuroscientists like Blake Richards and Paul Franklin have shown that the brain quickly discards information that it doesn't use. That's why you can get an A on a test and then forget everything a week later. But the only time you should memorize something is when you'll actually use it over and over and over again. One time I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And I put the Rubik's Cube down and I didn't touch it for like a year. And I came back, I remembered like one thing. So I had to relearn how to solve it. But then I put it down again, came back a year later. I only had to relearn one part, one step. And now, whenever I come back to a Rubik's Cube after a long time, I know how to solve it because my brain has learned that I keep coming back to the Rubik's Cube to solve it. So it's like, well, if I forget it again, you're just going to learn it again, so I might as well keep it. But the random formulas memorized in math, I only know like 2 of those. I know the Pythagorean theorem and the slope-intercept form because I learned those in 8th grade, and I've used them every single year in math since then. But other than that, I've forgotten everything. I don't need it. We don't need more memorization, we need more mastery. We need more people learning how to do actual things that they'll actually use over and over and over again. And I don't have a fix to this at all. I don't have the whole solution. But nothing gets fixed until you see it clearly, does it not? You see clearly now that the school system is broken. Do you not? So we can't reform it until we actually admit what it really is. It was never about true learning. It's about obedience. It's about following rules. It's about doing what they tell you. So if school feels like it's draining you, it's not because you are broken. It's because the system was built that way. It was built to keep you obedient in school, and then when you get home, you're lazy. It wasn't built for people like us that want to do stuff. And sure, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, go ahead, follow the path. School, college, all that stuff. If you really want to do that, good for you. But we don't really want to do that, do we? Me and you. We want to be like entrepreneurs, builders, innovators, leaders. So we want to break free from the system, or at least know what it's doing to us before we blindly get like indoctrinated into it. So you want to make sure that you're self-educating yourself. Research what you learn to make sure it's actually true. Research the stuff that's actually important to you and chase what excites you, what's important. And don't learn for a grade, learn for mastery. Learn because you want to learn it, not because they want you to learn it. And a lot of parents and teachers and adults, they're brainwashed too. They are products of this exact system. And they tell you to follow the rules because it's all they know, it's all they've been taught. But sometimes you have to move without their permission. You have to prove them wrong by doing it right. They're going to tell you, no, you have to go to school, you have to do this, and then you can't do all this random crap that you're doing. You can't do YouTube. No. Luckily for me, my parents are cool, but your parents are probably not. So you've got to prove them wrong by doing it right. Sometimes you first have to start something good in secret, and once it succeeds, you show everyone and they're like, oh, you are right because you succeeded. They will follow you once you prove that you're right. You start a business and they're like, oh, I don't think you should do that, blah, blah, blah. And then you succeed and you make money and you show them the money, they're going to be like, whoa, oh my gosh, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Right? So don't just laugh about how bad school is. Do something about it. Call it out, escape it, outgrow it. And then build the education that you wish you had. Educate yourself. And if you still have to go to school because your parents want you to go to school or something, just do it. Pass your classes and get out of there as quick as possible. Do what you want to do with your life. You only have one. School's already taken so much of your time, creativity, freedom, and childhood. You don't want it to take much more, do you? So remember that the path to heaven feels like hell and the path to hell feels like heaven. Choose one path and stick to it. If you watched all the way to the end like you just did, I think you'd be a perfect fit for our Discord server. You'd be a perfect warrior in there. First link in the description. I love you, bro.